The WNBA free agency is heating up, and all eyes are on Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky. While other teams are making big moves, securing top-tier talent, and gearing up for a championship run, Chicago is stuck in neutral. With no major signings and growing concerns about the team's management, the pressure is mounting. Can Reese turn things around, or is Chicago heading for a tough season ahead? Let's dive into the drama, the deals, and the future of the Sky. But before further proceeding in video, if you're new to the channel, please support by hit that subscribe button for more updates.
With free agency coming up.
Yes.
All right, and you guys obviously are grabbing pieces, I'm sure.
Yeah. It's gonna be big moves. People getting cored.
Yeah.
Ain't no telling what that means because you don't really have the freedom anymore
Yeah.
once you get cored. Coaches are different.
Yeah.
Like how many different coaches? You guys gonna be having, you know, a new coach. It's hot. It's just like you just don't know.
Yeah.
But down here, you know, all the tea is just gonna be so hot.
And the thing is, it's hot because I can't come here. Can you come over here? Can you come over here? Yeah. You don't get told no. Like, you're gonna get the yeses. You're gonna get more yeses than nos, and just being able to know that. So I'm excited for that. I know that's gonna come soon.
Angel Reese has been making waves in the basketball world, and her mission is crystal clear. She's determined to turn her Chicago squad into a championship powerhouse. With relentless drive, she's been actively seeking top-tier talent to reinforce her team, but so far, the puzzle pieces haven't quite fallen into place. While rival teams are making bold, strategic moves like Caitlin Clark heading to the Indiana Fever, Chicago seems to be watching from the sidelines, missing out on major signings. Despite her tireless efforts, reaching out to prospects, and scouting rising stars, Angel Reese has yet to land the game-changing players she needs. The energy is there, the ambition is undeniable, but the results still pending. As the free agency window starts to close and teams finalize their rosters, Chicago's struggle to secure top talent is becoming an increasingly glaring issue. With other franchises loading up on firepower, the pressure is mounting. Will Angel Reese and her team break through, or will they be left behind in the dust of this high-stakes offseason?
The Indiana Fever continue to make massive moves in free agency, signing Sophie Cunningham and DeWanna Bonner. And you guys, I don't even think they're done yet.
Meanwhile, other teams are wasting no time in stacking their rosters with elite talent. The Indiana Fever, in particular, is going full steam ahead, securing powerhouse players and building unstoppable momentum. And at the heart of it all, their rising superstar, Caitlin Clark, who has become the ultimate recruiting magnet, drawing in elite names to join her cause. In a stunning power move, the Fever landed both DeWanna Bonner and Sophie Cunningham, two dynamic players who perfectly align with their high-intensity playing style. These signings send a loud and clear message: Indiana isn't here to play games. They're here to dominate. The excitement is palpable, and their fan base is already buzzing with championship aspirations. On the flip side, Chicago, a team that was expected to be making noise in free agency, is eerily quiet. Their locker room lacks the energy of new rivals, and their roster remains largely unchanged while other squads continue to strengthen. The absence of headline-worthy signings is becoming harder to ignore, and as each day passes, the gap between them and the league's top contenders grows wider. If something doesn't change soon, Chicago may find itself on the outside looking in when the new season tips off.
Well, lads, this is not great news, you know, for the Chicago Sky, who are a team that obviously, look, they're rebuilding. This is a team that is 100% rebuilding. The problem is they don't own their pick. So if the Chicago Sky run it back, they're probably not making the playoffs next year. Look, I think there's going to be an improvement from Angel Reese. There's going to be an improvement from Cardoso. But that team with no Kennedy Carter, it's going to be real tough to get any offense.
The storm clouds are gathering over Chicago, and the questions are getting louder. If the Sky doesn't make a move soon, their championship hopes could be dead in the water. The competition is fierce, the stakes are high, and while other teams are stacking their rosters with elite talent, Chicago seems stuck in limbo. The league's biggest names, Kelsey Plum, Jewel Lloyd, Brittany Griner, Alyssa Thomas, and Kelsey Mitchell, are dominating headlines, shaping the future of teams, and fueling championship aspirations. But one thing is becoming crystal clear. None of them are considering a move to Chicago. Not even close. These are the types of players who can single-handedly transform a franchise into a title contender. And yet, Chicago isn't even in the conversation. But it's not just about missing out on new talent. The skies. Roster management has been nothing short of disastrous. In a shocking miscalculation, they failed to retain their top scorer simply because she asked for a pay raise. Instead of negotiating, they let her walk for nothing. No trade, no compensation, just gone. Now, all their hopes are pinned on Angel Reese to be the franchise's savior. She's undeniably a force to be reckoned with, but can she alone fill the void left behind? Or is Chicago setting itself up for a long, painful rebuild with no clear direction? Even the team's front office seems to be in damage control. "She had an incredible season for us last year," said the GM about their departed star. "She's extremely talented and made a huge impact on our team. But we've made changes and unfortunately that affected her fit with our roster." Translation: they let one of their best weapons slip away with nothing to show for it. And that brings us back to Angel Reese. She was supposed to be the magnet that drew other stars to Chicago. She was meant to be the face of a franchise on the rise. But instead, she stands alone. No high-profile names have followed her. No blockbuster signings. Just radio silence. Why? According to league insiders, it all traces back to Reese herself. Reports suggest she played a role in pushing the team's head coach out, and she may have had a hand in their top scorer's departure as well. Whether fair or not, the perception is growing that Reese has more influence over the organization than she should. And that kind of drama? It's not exactly a selling point for free agents looking for stability. Did Angel Reese just run a coach out of town? Is she the reason Chicago lost one of its best shooters? Whatever the truth is, the reality is undeniable. Kennedy Carter, the latest key piece on the roster, seems ready to follow the same exit path. Meanwhile, the rest of the league isn't waiting around. The Seattle Storm, Las Vegas Aces, and LA Sparks are making aggressive moves, ensuring their championship aspirations remain intact. But no team has made a bigger statement than the LA Sparks, who just pulled off a franchise-altering move by securing Kelsey Plum, one of the league's most electrifying stars. The Storm are playing chess, too, acquiring the second overall pick in a stunning 3-team deal. And the Las Vegas Aces? They're loading up for another deep playoff run, acquiring the 13th pick and strengthening their already stacked roster. According to ESPN, the blockbuster trade saw Jewel Lloyd head to the Aces, Kelsey Plum land with the Sparks, and Seattle walk away with a top draft pick in absolute power move. So why is Chicago missing out on all these game-changing talents? The answer boils down to 3 fundamental issues: mentality, facilities, and management. Take Kelsey Plum, for example. She had options, and when it came time to decide, she picked LA over Chicago without hesitation. Why? The Sparks offer elite facilities, a winning culture, and front office leadership that prioritizes their players. In contrast, Chicago has been criticized for mismanaging talent, failing to support its stars, and making questionable front office decisions. And it's not just Plum. Jewel Lloyd, a Chicago native, had every reason to come home. Playing in her city should have been a dream come true. But when she had the chance to sign with the Sky, she walked away. Instead, she chose to join the powerhouse Aces, eager to team up with Ja Wilson and Chase Rings. That decision speaks volumes. And then there's Brittany Griner. Instead of considering Chicago, she's heading to Atlanta, where she'll join forces with Ryan Howard and Alicia Gray. No drama, no front office chaos, just basketball. With Griner on board, the Atlanta Dream just became a legitimate threat in the East. It's clear that while Chicago remains stagnant, the rest of the WNBA is moving full speed ahead. 3 of the biggest names in the league, Alyssa Thomas, Natasha Cloud, and Brittany Griner, have all found new homes, strengthening teams that already had championship ambitions. The battle for WNBA supremacy is heating up, but Chicago? They're still searching for answers. Time is running out. And if the Sky don't make a move soon, they won't just miss out on competing for a title, they'll be left behind entirely, Phoenix is facing a massive shakeup, losing key players Natasha Cloud, Beck Allen, and the number 12 overall pick in this year's draft to Connecticut. Meanwhile, the Sun aren't holding back, parting ways with none other than the triple-double queen herself, Alyssa Thomas. If that wasn't enough, another major domino just fell in Chicago, and it's a brutal blow. While all eyes were on Angel Reese and her social media antics, the Indiana Fever quietly made one of the most impactful moves of the offseason, securing their scoring machine Kelsey Mitchell for another year. Let's be real, this is a massive win for the Fever and an absolute gut punch for Chicago. With Mitchell staying put, Indiana is now pairing her with none other than Caitlin Clark, forming a backcourt that could terrorize the league for years to come. It's clear that Clark's presence and the promising atmosphere in Indiana were more appealing than anything Chicago had to offer. Meanwhile, the Sky are left scrambling, desperate for firepower but failing to lend the pieces they need. Kelsey Mitchell was their golden opportunity, a ruthless scoring guard who could change the trajectory of their franchise, but once again, Chicago missed the mark. Even WNBA legend Cheryl swoops weighed in on the situation, emphasizing how crucial it is for teams to lock down proven performers in high-pressure moments. Chicago dropped the ball with Kelsey Mitchell, Swoop stated. She had an incredible season and didn't get the credit she deserved. If the Sky wanted to take a step forward, she was the kind of player they needed. While everything is falling apart around her, Angel Reese remains steadfast in her belief that she is one of the driving forces behind the WNBA's rising popularity. There's no denying Reese's talent and impact on the game, but her relentless me-first approach is starting to raise eyebrows. Rather than uniting her team, her attitude may be isolating teammates and making Chicago an unattractive destination for elite talent. I know in 20 years, people will look back and say women's basketball grew because of me too. Not just one person, Reese proclaimed. But as critics point out, her self-centered mindset could be doing more harm than good. Now, questions about Chicago's franchise management are growing louder. Are the Sky failing to attract talent because of poor leadership? Or is it the presence of a polarizing figure like Reese? Some insiders believe that her influence, whether intentional or not, is driving away potential stars. The WNBA landscape is shifting fast, and Chicago is at a crossroads. While teams like Indiana, Las Vegas, and LA are building powerhouse rosters, the Sky seem to be losing ground. Angel Reese was supposed to be the key to attracting talent, but so far, the results haven't matched the expectations. Will she rise above the criticism and prove the doubters wrong? Or is Chicago set for another season of struggles?